if Washington, D.C. were a gene pool, it would be a very shallow one. And that's partially because of the politically incestuous nature of the people who live there and who make a great living off taxpayers like you and me. Calling those people political parasites is an insult to real parasites like hookworms and pinworms and tapeworms. I mean, those parasites, well, frankly, they do a lot less damage and they're easier to get rid of. Yeah. Now, you heard for 5 years about how Russia was supposed to have influenced Donald Trump, even though $35 million of a special counsel's investigation concluded that he didn't. Poor Adam Schiff. He spent years lying about having evidence of Russian collusion, but he never produced a shred of it. Maybe the idea all along was to convince the gullible, gutless, and worthless partisan lapdogs in the media that there was collusion between Trump and the Russians, while hiding the real collusion that the press is ignoring right under their stopped-up, crusted-over noses. So tonight, I want to introduce you to a few people, some that you've heard of and some you haven't, and I want to show you that it isn't that hard to see the real problems in Washington. I like to call this whole process deep state or deep sewer. How about that? So I have, thanks to some very talented people on our staff, a wonderful display to show you how things are all really connected. I even have a pointer. How about that? Let's start right here with Nancy Pelosi, who impeached President Trump. And she was the one who handpicked the January 6th committee that included her handpicked Republican, Liz Cheney. Now, Liz Cheney is married to this guy, Philip Perry. He is a partner at the law firm Latham and Watkins LLP. That's a Washington law firm whose office represents the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign and Hillary for America. And it also represents a guy by the name of Michael Sussman and another guy named Mark Elias, who, by the way, he would need his own board all by himself. Now, they both work at a law firm called Perkins Coie, which, by the way, was hired by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC for the purpose of engaging a guy by the name of Glenn Simpson over here. He had a company called Fusion GPS. They hired this guy, ex-British spy Christopher Steele. He put his name on a bogus dossier from a source named Igor Danchenko, who is, by the way, under indictment himself. Now, this all tells a fake Russia story involving Alpha Bank, which came from a sensitive arrangement between the NSA and this guy down here, Rodney Joffe, who in 2015 had on retainer as his attorney, wait for it, Michael Sussman. Hey, folks, we just found that one out recently. Now, Danchenko's source was Charles Dolan, who was a longtime associate of Hillary Clinton. And both Danchenko and Dolan worked at a place called the Brookings Institution. And it was run by a guy named Strobe Talbot, who just happened to be a long-time associate of Hillary Clinton. The Alpha Bank hoax was pushed to the media by Hillary Clinton and this guy, Jake Sullivan. You know who he is? He's now the National Security Advisor for President Joe Biden. And it was also pushed to James Comey's FBI and John Brennan's CIA. They all bought in on it. And it was pushed to them by Michael Sussman, who, remember, is under indictment. And he's represented by, of course, Latham and Watkins law firm, which defended the DNC in the lawsuit brought by falsely accused Trump supporter Carter Page. The attorneys that helped be a part of that, Catherine Rumler and Lisa Monaco, right here. Now, they were together originally in helping prosecute the Enron case, with a guy by the name of Andrew Weissman. Now, frankly, Weissman would need his on board too. But you may remember him. He was the one who ran Robert Mueller's $35 million waste of money trying to trap Donald Trump. Oh, and Catherine Rummler, who has also represented the Clinton Foundation. Yeah, when did she do that? Oh, it was while she was at Latham and Watkins law firm, and in the 90s, as White House counsel, she defended Bill Clinton. Her colleague, Lisa Monaco, worked closely with President Obama, along with Susan Rice. And yeah, folks, we'd need another board for Susan Rice if we had time. Catherine Rummler and Lisa Monaco worked on the Carter Page case with Nicholas McQuaid, who is a colleague of Christopher Clark. Who's that? Oh, he's just a defense attorney for Hunter Biden. And you know what? We would definitely need another board for him. A big board, maybe several boards. Maybe one big enough he could do a painting on it for us that would be worth millions, who knows? So Christopher Clark, Hunter Biden's attorney, was, of course, a lawyer at Latham and Watkins law firm with Nicholas McQuaid. Well, that is until he moved on day one of Joe Biden's presidency to the Justice Department. Folks, this is all true. I'm not making any of this up. Catherine Rummler, known as Obama's fixer, and Lisa Monaco, she's now the second in command at the Justice Department, just behind Attorney General Merrick Garland, who was nominated to the Supreme Court by President Obama. And now, Attorney General Merrick Garland can shut down special counsel John Durham if he wants to, because Durham might be sniffing a little close to President Obama. So what if that happens? Or maybe not just him, but any big client of Latham Watkins, like the DNC or the Hillary Clinton campaign or Hillary Clinton herself. And there you have this convoluted craziness like you've never seen before. And folks, that's just the tip of the iceberg. But the ice beneath the surface gives me the chills, knowing just how corrupt our government has become. Because you know what's worse than the COVID virus? The corruption that stinks up Washington. Folks, we've got to clean house and disinfect that filthy place. Now, as rampant as corruption is within our own borders, domestic threats aren't the only ones we've got to keep our eyes on. Threats abroad, unfortunately, require that we keep our eyes on several things at once. It's not always the case that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Now, we've got a Russian-born intelligence expert who has made it her work to get inside the mind of Vladimir Putin. And right after the break, we're going to meet that special guest. But right now, I just thought maybe I've got some cleaning up to do, given all this stuff that we've got. My goodness, I think it's time to clean this up. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.